Hey everyone, welcome back to Build Your Own Redis like server. In this video, we'll be covering adding data persistence with snapshots. So snapshots is like one of the persistence mode. Then the second persistence mode is append only file that we'll be covering in the next video. So yeah, let's get started. We'll begin by adding a simple config.json file, and inside that we will start with snapshot as true, and also snapshot interval, like how frequent we should store the snapshot. Okay, to begin with, we'll just start with 5000 milliseconds, so that would be 5 seconds. That's it. Okay, so if the user wants to change this one, and he can disable that, and I'll basically give a walkthrough of that also by testing in memory persistence mode and also the snapshot mode. Next, we'll create persistence.js file. So this file will take care of storing everything, like even for the next video, that is like append only file. This file will be responsible for storing and retrieving also. And the initial modules we required is file system fs from the node, promises version of it, and also the path. And I'm creating an instance with the logger, and again, if you see, persistence as the namespace. Okay, next we'll create the persistence class, and we can also export this as new instance, kind of a singleton. Okay, now we'll have a property data file, and that will give you the basically the path for where exactly we need to state the snapshot. Okay, and that I'm naming it as data.rdb. Okay, now we'll have the constructor, and inside we'll store and expiration times as an empty objects. And if you can recollect, in the code.js we are storing here globally, so these will be removed, and that will be loaded from the persistence class itself. Okay, now we'll start with save snapshot function. All right, and this is kind of an async await we'll be using, and we'll be explicitly having a sync function also that I'll come in the later stage of the video. So in the save snapshot, we'll be having json.stringify the same values, this dot store and also the expiration time, and that will be purely in the data file, and that object, sorry, data object itself, and that object will be directly saving inside the data file location and the exact data json.stringify. We are not formatting it with a proper two tabs or like one tab. We're just storing it as a raw format because long term the file would be like not kind of a user friendly to read, but again, that's not the purpose of storing that in a data.rdb, right? So our server, whenever we restart and in the persistence mode of snapshot, it will just basically read that file and load everything. So it's not to read, so I think I strongly believe that it's not really necessary to format the JSON when we are storing in this data file. Okay, and if you see here, fsp.write file using the promises version of file system, and I'm storing this data in this data file, that what we configured over here. Clear? And then I'm just having a log, and also if there is an error when saving, I'm just logging this also. Not throwing any error at this stage, but we can improve on that as an improvement part, but that's it. So save snapshot, whenever we call this save snapshot function, it just stringifies the whole these two objects, store and expiration times, and that would be inside the data object, and that will be as is saved into this data file. That's it. Now that we have completed save snapshot function, let's start by writing load snapshot. And if you see here sync, the reason I went with the not the reason I didn't go with the async approach is for me I felt like, okay, whenever the server restarts in the persistence mode of snapshot, first it should completely load the whole file and store that into the in memory, then only it can accept. But it can go the other way also. We can still start accepting, and if you can see here, store expiration times, which anyway it is loaded with an empty object, and in the load snapshot we'll be merging the values, so should be fine. But I just still felt that it is safe to first load the entire snapshot file, then we can start accepting, but it can go in any way, but our server can do in both ways. So next, in the snapshot, the first validation is if the data file exists. Then the actual code, it's wrapped with a try catch, and if you see here, first read file sync data file to string, that's it. So if data exists, then I'm extracting store and expiration times by having the json.parse, that's it. And the named variables loaded store and loaded expiration times, and I'm merging, that's it. Okay, so this dot store and this dot expiration times will be having the latest information whatever it is there in the data underscore file, that's it. Once it's there, I'm adding a logger if at all there is a error, and just logging again. So you can challenge me stating that why don't we crash the server or something, or at least throw this error and stop the server gracefully, or let the user know, like wherever whoever is running the server. We can do that, but overall, as you can see, the data can be still stored in memory, and we can keep calling the save snapshot, and it can keeps overwriting the value, so should be fine. But the crux what I felt is like we can just gracefully do it, like add a log message, but again anyway this save snapshot will be keep saving with this interval, snapshot interval. So I felt like we can do in this way just as a graceful, but it's a um, basic project where you this will create a base for you. From there you can make it as robust as possible, but you got the crux right, so that's more important. That's it. Load snapshot sync, simple. So to sum it up, persistence class, two variables, store and expiration times. Save snapshot, get the in-memory store these values, save it in the JSON format as a stringified version, and just store it in a file. That's it. Load snapshot, read the file, like if it is not, if it doesn't exist, just ignore. If it exists and if the data is there, then we'll try to parse it and extract store and expiration times and merge with the in-memory this dot store and this dot expiration times. Simple. Okay, now that we have completed persistence, now let's move on to core. And if you can see, store and expiration times not really needed here because we'll be loading from the persistence itself. So you can just remove this. And first, we needed config. The reason in the initialization, remember in it here we'll be actually having this logic where how frequent the file should be saved, and also on the first time it should load the snapshot also. So config I'm just importing over here, and persistence instance, singleton, and store and expiration times, right? So once these two came, right, rest all the code we really don't need to touch. Now that we'll just close the loop by completing the function definition of init. So first we'll cross check if config.snapshot is set. Okay, else we can just simply ignore this one. We can wrap this over here, that's it. Okay, if config.snapshot is set properly, then what we can do, we can just simply add a log stating persistence mode snapshot, as in the else condition. If it is snapshot, if it is not snapshot in memory, this is already there, right? So if it is snapshot, I'm just adding a log, and if you can clearly see here, persistence dot load snapshot sync, that's it. So this function will be executed, and all the values will be merged this dot store and this dot expiration times. Clear? Now this is like whenever the server started in the snapshot mode as a persistence mode as snapshot, right? Now we will use set interval to store the snapshot every time, like the with the frequency of whatever it is set here. Okay, so inside the core set interval async await, again same logic, persistence save snapshot, that's it. So every time, so here if you see here, now it's 5 seconds, so every 5 seconds this function will be called, and what are the values stored here, this dot store and this dot expiration times will be saved into the flat file, that's it. This is a very basic thingy. There can be so many edge cases and all, but this will give you the base so that from there you can actually improve and make it more optimized. That's all. That's all the changes required for the persistence mode of snapshot. Now that we have completed the whole loop for the persistence mode of snapshot, let's start the server. Right? And if you can see here, persistence mode snapshot. Now every 5 seconds it will store. So if you see here, 14 and 19 second, save data store to file so and so data.rdb. So if you look at the data.rdb file, it's all empty because every 5 seconds it keeps overwriting, but we haven't done anything. We didn't do any command. So what we can do, we'll just expand, split the terminal, and maybe we can actually start the Redis CLI instead of test cases. Test cases also we will cover, but let's begin by just simply having this one. So set bar. The moment, luckily it just happened at the time. Let me just do it again. So set Bharatha. Okay, save. So we got this command and now it's not there, but after 5th second, if you see here, key Vivek, type string, again the value, and value is Bharatha. That's it. This also, this we got an acknowledgement, and after, see, the value removed. That's it. It's clear, right? We can actually do run the test cases end to end so that you can see so much of all the different test cases values and all. But yeah, all tests passed, and if you see here, all the test cases what we have done across the whole thing, right? So all the information is stored. Now it's stored, right? Now let's completely stop the server. Okay, now we'll do this activity. So now in the data.rdb you can clearly see that we have a foo key, right? And if you just go down, we have foo d also, and maybe we'll use the L range. Okay, list 3 is there, right? List 3, it's only element 1. Maybe we'll use, I think should be fine, just to make sure that everything is working fine, like the loading of snapshot also. So npm start, data stored loaded successfully, as you can see here. Okay, now we'll again connect via redis cli, and let's call L range list 1. Oops, 0 0. Let's try to get the first value, el1. So it's all working fine. Clear? So persistence mode is simple. Just try to save everything into the JSON format in the RDB, and whenever the server restarts, we'll try to load that file as a sync in my way, but we can do it as an async also. And that's all for this video. Make sure you hit the like button. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye.